Good evening, y'all. This is Bedtime Real Estate with Pego John Paul, Realtor here in Fairfield County in Connecticut. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the topic of buying your first new construction home. Now, this topic here, can get a little difficult to understand. That's why I brought in a pro that actually does this all the time. This is Ricardo Burton. He's based out of Charleston, South Carolina. But I wanted to let him introduce himself.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me, Pego. Ricardo Burton here from Charleston, South Carolina. Born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts. And I've been in real estate here at Keller Williams for the past 2 years. Total real estate years is 3 years. So, just trying to come on here and, educate the people.
All right, Rick, man, it's great that you're here, man. I know he has expertise. Rick, he doesn't want to tell too much about himself, but he does a lot of deals, transactions down in South Carolina. He's one of the top agents down there. If you are looking for someone to buy a new build, this is the person to have in your corner. He has the experience. He's done the different deals. He's gone through those different areas where we're like, what we're going to do here. He always has a plan before things come to hit the fan. So we're going to go through some slides, but we're going to try to keep this fresh. We're going to try to keep ourselves in the video, keep you guys up. I know it's bedtime, so get cozy in your bed. You can scroll through and keep watching us here and just get some info right before you go to sleep.
Definitely. All right. You want to control it? You want me to control it? How you want to go?
Rick, it's your world, man. I'll let you do your thing, man.
All right. Well, this is my first time live here, so don't get on me too hard. But again, Ricardo Burton. Been here doing real estate down in Charleston, South Carolina for the past 3 years. I've been humbly been as top as the top 5% of Charleston realtors in Charleston, South Carolina. Realtors of distinction. A few programs and groups that I'm in is right here. So I'm part of the agent leadership committee in my Charleston office, Market Center. I am part of the Women's Council of Realtor. A lot of people think that is something that is a surprise to them, but being that I have been raised by all women all my life, I have that sincere respect and trust with women as well as, obviously, I am a mama's boy. I will admit that, so ain't nothing wrong with that. And so forth. So I'll just keep on going. And obviously we're here tonight for Bedtime Real Estate. And Pego asked me to come here because of my expertise and, my heavy hand in the new construction world. Down in Charleston, South Carolina, there is a lot of new construction in regards to massive built communities. I swear maybe 60-70% of the opportunities down here is new construction. So, built within the past, 20, 15 years. There's a lot of, home HOAs. There's not many, non-HOAs, and a lot of people have their pros and cons of HOAs, but there are more pros than cons, and we'll talk about that later on. So let's go to the next slide.
So one thing I'll say, Rick, though, like I talked to Rick, a couple times throughout the week, and he's like, "Oh man, I got these buyers, man. Look at these these homes that are 5 years old. They're ancient. It's crazy because up here in Connecticut, a lot of our homes are usually between like 1940, 1950 to 1960 range. And, when a house comes up and is built 2000, man, that's like a pretty much new house. But we're, we have a lot of these antique homes here, and we just that here in Connecticut, we don't have as much space. So usually when they try to use that as space and build either a larger complex, so usually a big apartment complex building to house more people.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, so some of the benefits of getting new construction homes is that in regards to the market and where we are with high interest rates, or, relatively high based on the past 4 years, we've been very spoiled. So, we've gotten up to 8%, and the higher the interest rate goes up, that's when new construction is looking to, get rid of inventory and give the deals to new buyers, whether they're new home buyers, first-time home buyers, um, first line heroes such as nurses, doctors, firefighters, police. We even have Palmetto Heroes in like giving teachers deals as well in regards to programs to help them with their down payment assistance. So these are things that a lot of buyers, especially new buyers, don't understand, or they don't know that they have the ability to use these programs. So that's where you need a professional in order to um, help you and stand behind you in order to make sure that you're getting all the benefits and getting your money's worth when purchasing a home, and one of the most important investments of your life. So some of the benefits right here. I don't want to do depth of slideshow, so there's just a few pointers in each slide, and we'll dig down into details and stuff. So everything is so fresh and clean. Obviously, some people say, "Oh, I don't want to sit on somebody else's seat," so they want a new construction. I mean, there are less expensive ways to do that, such as buying a new toilet seat or buying a new toilet overall. But it is definitely good to go into something that you have built from the ground up. Obviously, there are different builders such as D.R. Horton right here, Lennar, Crescent Homes, and many others that have the ability to provide you with, say, whether it's 4 to 10 different floor plans, whether it's you want a ranch style, whether you want a slab build, stick builds on high raised slabs. Down here, we have to watch out for flood zones. So the higher you get, away from the water in the elevation, the less you have to worry about flood zones. So, another thing is everything is new. Everything comes with warranties. You have a 10-to-1 warranty or 1-to-10 warranty. So, when you buy a new home, most builders provide you with the first year warranty. So, the first 30 days within you moving into a home, you are able to go to the builder and say, "Hey, we actually found some cracks in our foundation, or cracks in the wall, or some nail pops were found." They are able to warrant you able to go to the builder's warranty site, and they're able to come and schedule somebody to fix these things. Another thing, you build them from scratch. Just like I said before, you can choose your own floor plan, and then you can add different aspects of your home, whether it's you want this bedroom to be a flex room, you want this dining room to be a study, and so forth. Being able to pick what type of flooring you want, whether you want LVP, whether you want wood floors, depending on where you are, maybe tile floors if you're in Florida. So, and then the different.
Right. Hold on. Let me stop for 1 second, man. So we got to break this down. You just gave us a lot of information right now, talking about like kind of the options they have when they're building their home. Now, like starting off first off as a buyer, like, because like what options do they have? Like who do they meet first? Do they meet you like an agent first, or do they meet usually somebody that represents the builder first to get into the process of buying a new home?
Yeah, definitely. So, and then we're going to get to that, I believe, on the next slide. But in regards to when going into a new construction area or on site, you definitely want to have representation so they can make sure that they're having your best interests at heart. When you're going to a new builder, a lot of them, they would provide you with the information of what they have and the knowledge of that particular builder. There's several builders, that you are able to go to, whether it's here or, Connecticut, where you are, Florida, California. But, that specific builder site that you go to, say D.R. Horton right here, shout out to D.R. Horton. They're not paying for this or sponsoring this at all, but that's just the
But
first.
if you want to pay for it, feel free.
Yeah. So you go to a builder site, they would love to help you out. But when you go to a builder site, just know that their best interests, they're protected, and their fiduciary duties are for the builder, whoever they work for. So they can be nice, they can help you and answer any questions that you may have. But at the end of the day, their boss is the builder. So when you have your own protection and your own representation, they're going to make sure that the builder is in line with timelines and whatever necessary fixes or repairs or changes that you want within the home. They're making sure that that is done in the contractual agreement in order to get the transaction to where it is.
All right.
Do you have any questions after that?
No, I'm letting you go through, Rick. I'm gonna have questions. Don't worry, because you're giving a lot of facts, you give a lot of information. You gotta put it in bite-sized pieces, man. People understand what it is.
Yeah, I'm definitely loving this because the last thing I want to do is kill somebody and bore somebody with slideshows. So I just wanted to bring a few points on the slideshow and have a picture to engage the audience. So if anybody has any questions, whether you're watching live or has any questions later, just comment on the post, and me and Pega will be able to help you out whenever we get a chance. So don't be shy and get in contact with us. So work with the builder agent, just like I said, you already hit the nail on the head with this, is they can help you with whatever you want, with whatever questions you want, but at the same time, their fiduciary duties are to the builder. And of course, like I said, and it's no shot out at the builder or anything, but everything is all good, and it's they're looking for their best interests. We as a realtor is going to look for your best interests. So whether you have a home to sell and you need to be in this house by a certain time, we're going to make sure that builder, there's no delays. Obviously, we can't control the delays, but we can make sure that we prepare you for anything that may happen throughout the transaction process.
So it's kind of like when you have the representative from the builder representing you on the buy side, it's kind of like going into what they call a dual agency, where you have one person that's representing the builder, and the other person, and that same person is representing the buyer. Now, they're supposed to fairly represent both sides, but everybody's human, and sometimes like, what's more important, getting a deal done or getting everything that the buyer wants? So sometimes it's good to reach out and to have an agent represent you on these new construction homes, because you're going to have your own person and speaking to the other side. You're not going to have one person that's one side is on the left, one side is on the right, and protecting both. Like it's kind of area where it's kind of gray. And especially because these builders have this deadline to sell these properties, and there's pressure on people to get these deals done.
Right. There's been a few times where agents are talking to buyers, and they're showing them pre-owned homes, and they're showing them pre-owned homes, here and there, and they're just not finding the correct home that they want. So and then next thing you know, they're out of sight. Sometimes people are like, oh, I ended up going with the new construction home, and the agent's like, either I didn't show value or I didn't provide the information to let them know that I can, support you and represent you on a new build. A lot of buyers, they don't know what they don't know. So they may think that, it's going to cost me if I bring a buyer agent to a new construction site. That is not the case at all. It doesn't cost you anything. You'll gain a lot of value, you gain a lot of wealth, and you're going to be gaining a lot of security, because if you don't have a representation with you, there could be times where there's something going on with that builder at that time. There's been a lot of builders that have had, class action lawsuits against them because of the way that something was built or they missed something. Yes, the builders have their inspections and, they have to get certificate of occupancy. And in order to do that, they have to have the county, inspect. But there is no better inspection than a third party inspection that has no skin in the game until they represent you and they clear the house and clear, the certs and the requirements that a builder has to, follow before getting that home to you and then passing that on to you. The last thing you want to do is go into a new construction house and you have issues either before you buy, or 10 days after. There's been a lot of horror stories that I have been a part of myself in my own purchases, as well as my clients. But it's you just have to make sure that things are A1 before you sign that line when that property is conveyed to your possession. So, and like I said right here, some builder agents and site agents actually welcome you getting a representation agent, because then that's less work for them so they can go to the next buyer and they can do the same thing and just keep on going and going.
So we got a question here from Sharon. She's one of the agents here in Connecticut. Thanks for Sharon. So she wants to know, how long does it take to build a new home? It can't be exact, but what's the kind of like average time you guys have down there?
Yeah, so it all depends on what time of the process, or at what time of the process you went to the builder. So there can be move-in ready homes. So you could be in a home within 30 days, 21 days, if it's a move-in ready home, because these builders are trying to get this inventory off their list, whether it's before their fiscal year ends, whether it's before the year ends. So there's points in time where you're going to see these promotions or see promotions from the builder in order to get these houses sold and to buyers as soon as possible. So, it can be 30 days up to 8 to 10 months. Contractually, they have 2 years in order to build your house. It's not very often at all for it to take 2 years. There are times when weather comes into effect, whether you're in a, tornado zone, or, you're in the Oklahoma or Dallas and something may happen to, that area. But usually average from the time they pour the slab. So down here, we don't have basements. Unfortunately, I do miss my basements up in the north. It could take anywhere between 6 to 10 months to build a home. So that's just to answer your question. Average about 6 to 8 months, could go up to 10 months. And, there's timelines that they have to follow, whether they're at stage 1, 2, 3, and so forth, until the time, they go to framing. And, you having a realtor, a local realtor, if you are not local to where you're building, if you're relocating, they can be your feet on the street. They can be your eyes. They can be your ears, making sure that, you're having inspections done pre-drywall as well as before the NHO, the new home owners orientation. So it's very, whether you're an agent or whether you're buying or you have a client buying, you just have to make sure all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed when representing, because that can hurt your reputation. There's agents out here that don't know what they're doing, that needs education and that needs the ability to represent their clients right. When, having a new construction home buyer is not easier than having a pre-home pre-owned home buyer, because you have to make sure that you're doing what's best for your buyer, especially if they're not in town.
One question, I'll put you on the spot right now, Rick. So what's one common mistake that an agent that doesn't know what they're doing can make in terms of the process of a new construction home? What's the most common mistake that they can make?
The most common mistake, or what's
like something like that can be avoided, that if you don't know what you're doing, they can allow this to happen.
Common mistake is thinking that everything is a-okay, all through the process, just because it's a brand new build. Brand new builds have, obviously different builders have different contractors. They have different timelines. They have different processes that they do. Some are very cookie cutter, and they build anywhere between 100 to 200 homes at the same time. So they're just dropping them up. And some do 4 at a time, the small time builders. They find some land in a residential area, and whether it's a townhouse or whether it's, it could be a brand new builder or a developer, and just assuming that everything is a-okay just because it's a brand new build, you can't do that, because there are processes and inspections that need to be done, and they can say that it's done, but if you don't do what's best for your client and get those inspections done by a third-party inspector, you can cause your client thousands and thousands of dollars, and everything may be good while they're living in the house, but that time when it's time for them to resell their house, and the next person gets a inspection before they buy the house, and they see something such as, the trusses, up in the attic were broken. They weren't sistered. They're split. It can be electricity issues because they didn't have a certified electrician or a reputable electrician or a plumber. There's things that can be good until that inspection is done. And then, even when I bought this house in Somerville in Cane Bay, everything seemed to be good on the outside. On the inside, 4 days after we closed, the tubs, the toilets, the showers started clogging. We had no idea why. Come to find out, the builder did not connect the pipes to the sewer line. How did this happen when they had their own inspectors, as we had our inspectors as well? But because we weren't living in the house, because we were renting for a month, elsewhere we didn't go to the bathroom and shower as much because we were in another home until this was done. We didn't find out until 4 days later, and it's because they did not connect the water line to the main sewer. So
seems like a basic thing. Seems like a basic thing. Exactly. I don't know. It's like that's probably like the last step. Let's collect the line together, guys. So let's do this thing.
Yeah.
So like, say for example, like that, that you guys went through that. Like, how can an agent prevent that? Like, I guess will be like another inspection by a plumber, or they have to do a camera on the line. Like, how can you prevent something like occurring? Because that's definitely a horror story. Because you guys found that out, but what if someone doesn't find that out, or maybe there's some type of leaking causing mold, whatever in the house, stuff like that. Like how can you ensure at least it's it's what it should be safety wise?
Yeah, you just have to get a qualified and trusted an inspector that will. So I now only use inspectors that have the what's the word I'm looking for? The infrared cameras in order to see through the walls. So there's some times where there can be a burst pipe because the new contractors probably nicked a hole in one of the water pipes that are plastic, and you may not know that there's a leak in the wall until for months, depending on whether you close your house in the winter or in the summer, or no matter where you are, it can be a slow burst. And then once that rust gets on that nail or that screw, there can be a leak in your wall for who knows how long, and until you notice, and it's too late. So just being able to have that infrared camera in order to see behind the walls, because if you say you got a house that was a move-in ready, and you moved in that house within 21 days or 30 days, 45 days, and you didn't get a pre-drywall inspection, or you didn't get an inspection before the new homeowner's orientation, you had no idea what's going on behind those walls before insulation was put in, before the drywall was put up. You have no idea what's going on. So I tell my clients all the time, no matter what, I will even pay for it myself for inspector to inspect your house before you convey on the house.
Can we coach you on that, Rick?
You can. I hope one of my clients come on, and they will, or one of my inspectors come on, and they will vouch for me. So I can't see who's on right now, because I'm not trying to look at who's on here, but yeah.
Okay. All right, man. So we have to get one of your inspectors on here one time so they can go through everything too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Shout out to National Property Inspection.
All right, man.
Let's see where we at. So, local realtor will be your eyes and ears that will help with, all the current promotions. Because if you're out of state and you don't know, or you're not familiar with the local builders that are here, you don't know if, like before, say we're at 7.5%, they could be offering an interest rate buy down, whether it's a fixed rate or a climbing rate, a 2-1 buy down. We'll talk about that later. I can go into so many things, but I want to just focus on the new construction part. So if you didn't have a realtor behind you for your best interest, who's going to, explain to you all the different contracts that each builder has? They're national builders, so their contract is blanketed throughout all different states. Different states have different regulations and rules that they have to follow. Different builders there's some big builders, small builders that have different situations that they have to follow by. So having a local realtor know these realtors and be able to suggest to you which ones are more reputable, because D.R. Horton can be better in South Carolina than in California or Connecticut or Texas. So some builders have a bad name, some builders have a good name. Don't go up and look at all the reviews, because there's going to be bad reviews and good reviews for everything, for every business, for every person. So just always trust in a local realtor. And if you have somebody, if you're not in Charleston where I am, or you're not in Stamford, Connecticut where Pago is, we have agents all around the world that will be able to help you out no matter where you are. So if you don't trust anybody, or you don't have anybody where you're going to relocate, just let us know, and we will be able to help you out with a reputable agent that has been to trainings that we have had dinner with, had fun, had drinks with, and everything, and people that we trust, that we can know will represent our name and represent KW or any other brokerage. So who else will be able to discuss if you really have to use the builder's preferred vendors? So there are builders, and their incentives are through their partners. And if you don't use their lender, you may not get the interest rate buy down. You may not get the closing costs. You may not get the discount that they're providing. So If you go and you already got pre-approved and you have a friend that's a loan officer or a broker, and you come and you think that you're going to be able to use them and still get the benefits, that may not happen. There are some builders that allow you to, depending on if you're using their title attorney or any of their builders that they say you have to use all of their vendors. You may not get that. So you have to make sure you have somebody by your side in order to explain that to you. Again, if you're relocating, somebody that's going to be able to, take pictures of the progression of the house, whether it's every day, whether it's every week, whether it's every month. You need somebody that can, verify everything is on the timeline that we need to make in order for you to get to where you need to be. Making sure that the builder is keeping their promises. Again, timelines. If you change anything within the contract of, the basic additions of the house versus the upgrades that you ask for, making sure that those are done and so forth.
So we got another question, comment out there. Are builders negotiable with their list price? I have buyers that have specific price points.
Everything is negotiable. There are some builders, mostly the bigger builders, that don't allow negotiation, but depending on the relationship that your agent has, they may be able to get you those negotiated prices. Like if the builder just came down $30,000 and you ask for a discount, maybe not, but there are ways that we can help in regards to price, whether it's the end of the month or it's the end of the year and there are promotions. We can definitely help get you the best bang for your buck and the best deal out there.
So I would say, like, say, for example, so we have the beginning of the year, let's say, like, a house goes on the market March, right? So towards the end of the year for that same house, like maybe they have 10 houses for sale, and there's still like 3 or 4 remaining to be sold. And it's like November, and the price initially started at $350. What type of discount would you get towards the end of the year? What have you seen?
I missed a little bit of that.
Say, for example, you have a house that, they have a bunch of houses that are supposed to be sold at $350.
Yeah.
Then at the beginning of the year, but now it's the end of the year, and they have these houses that they have to sell by the end of the year based on like how they do their timelines and everything. So say there's like 3 properties still for sale for instead of like, is the price start at $350? Like how much would you expect the price to go down? Maybe percentage or by amount, what type of discount to be offering by the end of the year?
It definitely all depends on what the market is like at that time of the year. Like it depends on where the interest rate is. It depends on how many of those properties have sold within that phase of that builder phase. There's a lot of new construction sites that have they can have 3 phases, they can have 5 phases, they can have 15 phases, or even more, depending on how big the master build community is. It depends on the lots. It depends, like if it's a lot that is not one of the premium lots, like whether it's a pond lot, whether it's a corner lot, it could be a house that, has 2 houses, 1 house on each side, a house right across the street, a house in back. Some of those lots are not preferable, so they may just give deep discounts on those lots or those properties in order to get them to move. So it just there's so many factors that you have to factor in on how you can get the best price for your client, and that's why you need a local realtor. Like you can't have, these online agencies have your back. So I never will have to worry about, Redfin and Zillow taking deals from.
Hey, man, we would say no names.
Gotta keep it real.
Be careful with this, saying out names, man. It's public. Be careful. I don't want no lawsuit come to my house. There are enough bills coming in. I don't need another bill coming in.
The in-person agent will never have to worry about getting their jobs taken unless they are not doing their job right. So keep on doing what we're doing. Keep on being, it's a relationship business. And as long as you're showing value, you'll still have your career, and there's houses out there to be sold.
All right.
Where our slides go. There you go.
Oh, it's right there. Yeah. Put it
There
back
we
up.
go.
Don't worry. They didn't leave. Rick, I would like to say he is a young guy, but like he's like 80 years old, man. Technology wise, man. I'm like, dude, like I've been on social media for 11 years.
You're a fool. You're a fool.
Yeah, walk him through himself, man. But we'll go to the next page here.
Yeah. So how do you let the builder know that you are working with an agent? The best thing to do is make sure that the agent is right there with you on site. The best agent will be able to first get to know you, get to know your needs, get to know your wants, get to know your family. And they will be able to guide you in regards to whatever the needs and the necessities and the wants that you say that you want to have, whether it's you want to be close to family, whether you want to be closer to amenities, whether you want amenities. There's a lot of resort style amenities available in this area, and most subdivisions have their own pool and parks and golf cart paths and walking paths and gyms. And so it all depends on what your lifestyle is. And you can, live whatever way you want, depending on where you want to live it and who you want to live it with. So the best thing to do is, bring your agent to when you are looking into doing new construction homes, and, they'll be able to represent you. And if they're not doing you right, you can fire them on the spot. You can fire them whenever you want. Obviously, you have to, make sure that you're doing it the right way, and, get a contract terminated or a buyer agency terminated. But for the most part, we are trying to do what's best, and we're trying to, make the realtor name good again, because there's times when, people don't understand, and they're, putting everybody into a blanket when everybody is not the same. So just making sure that you interview as many agents as you want or as you can in order to provide that ability to see who is best fit for you and your family, and will do what's right in order to build that relationship and the knowledge that they have in order to use that to get to where you need to be.
All right. So in terms of like the process, like step by step. So, so you see a listing for a new construction, right? You'll take your client there, show the house, like the model house that they have. Now, after you sell that house, do you have to fill an application or something like that for new construction, or is just like a regular, when you buy a house, you just put a contract into purchase?
No, so it all depends on what the situation is. First, you got to get pre-approved before you look at any house, whether it's pre-approved or you have to show proof of funds. With new construction, proof of funds, whether you get pre-approved by somebody else, it'll be much faster if you come in with the pre-approval. In order to get those incentives, you may have to use the builder's own lender, but there are times when you don't have to use a builder's lender, and you can bring your own pre-approved lender, and they're able to represent you. Sometimes it's even better to bring in your own lender because of wherever the interest rates are that the builder has. Your own lender or your broker will be able to beat that sometimes, even though that and there's a lot of people that don't understand, and they're like, oh, they're giving us $15,000. They're giving us $25,000. But if you look at the interest rates that they're giving you, a broker could beat those interest rates. And in the long run, it can be best to bring in your own lender. So it just all depends on what your situation is and where we are in the market. So just make sure you get all your options as much as possible, and talk with a agent or a realtor that will be able to go through all that and show you everything that you have in order to save you thousands short term, immediately, and long term.
So we get a pre-approval letter either from the lender, from the builder, or we get it either through our own lenders that we have, right? So we get to that point. So then we go and view on the model properties. Then we submit an offer to them, and the builder will accept it. Is that how it works for the most part?
Obviously, so like I said, the builder agent or the site agent, they are the person of contact. They take, so say you sign, you as the agent sign, make sure you're going through the contract with your buyer in order to make sure that they understand all the options that they have and everything that they've asked for. And you can always change something within the contract. I don't want to say always. There are things that you can change within the contract if both parties agree to it. So you do have to do a change form. But being able to explain that to your buyer, that is what's going to be best for them, because things may change during the transaction that they may not be able to afford, whether it's lose their job, whether it's they bought something when they weren't supposed to, or something that's happened within the family that they have to back out, or whatever the case may be. Just being able to know that you have a realtor that has your best interest, and make sure that you're not getting screwed from the other side, because again, you don't have their fiduciary duties. You want to make sure that somebody has your back if something was to happen.
Okay. So we get to that point, then they accept the offer, but you can negotiate the price and everything like that. Now, where does it come in terms of like selecting your plot and like where the house is going to be actually placed and stuff like that? Like, where does that come to play?
So like when you go on site, they'll take you around they'll ask you what type of home are they looking for, whether you're looking for a ranch, whether you're looking for 2 floors, whether you're looking for primary down, primary up, whatsoever. They'll show you a map of the community and say, all right, these are the available lots. Sometime this model is not able to fit on, this type of lot. So you're going to get options in regards to if there's lots available for the model that you want, or you'll tell them the model, and then they'll say, all right, these are the only lots that you are able to fit that home on. So, and then you go around the neighborhood and you're like, all right, well, I like this floor plan, but I don't like this lot that's available because this is the only lot or one of 3 lots available. So then you go to the next builder and you do the same thing until you find something that, I tell my buyers, it's always going to be an 80-20 rule. You're not going to get everything that you want unless you're one of the first people here and you have to pick. You have the first dibs on everything, whether it's the lots, whether it's the floor plans, and you'll be able to pick where you want to go. But if it's late in the game, there's many builders that you can go and pick from. So there's always going to be something out there for somebody. You just have to make sure, whether it's you and the wife, or you and the family, or you and a friend going in on a home together, make sure that you guys agree to something.
Okay, so now you pick your plot, you pick the type of home you want, ranch, whether it's colonial or whatever. You pick the type of house that you want. All right, so then now what's the next step? So you're under contract now. You pick what the house that you want. So when do they usually start building on the property itself?
Once they get permits to build, if they don't already have permits, they have to get, city or county permits, approved to, all right, you're able to build on these lots, this and that. Like I said, they have different phases. They build a certain amount of homes each phase, and then they sell a certain amount of homes before they get to the next phase. So once the permits is done, they can, start grading the land. They can start pouring the slab. They can start, pouring the foundation, or depending on where you are at. And then it goes into framing. and then it goes into, the installation of, electrical, plumbing, insulation, and then the drywall goes in, and then, electrical gets connected. And then once you get cabinets, it's usually 45 to 90 days before the house is done, before cleaning and getting everything done. So it just all depends on the builder and what their process is and where you are location wise, as well as weather.
So when's the first inspection?
First inspection. So I always have my clients do pre-drywall whenever we can. But if you're get to the house past drywall is up, you've already missed that. So if we can get to the house before pre-drywall, even days before we went on a contract, and there was pre-drywall is going up in the next 3 to 4 days, I find an inspector that can get there stat if we have that chance to, because you want to know what's behind the walls. You want to have your client take pictures of, where gas lines are, where pipes are, make sure that everything is done. Make sure, it's fireproof in regards to where insulation needs to be or is not. So you want to know where the HVAC system is going. You want to know everything that you can before that insulation and drywall goes up. So that's you're least susceptible to something happening after you close. And yeah, so that's the first inspection. Second inspection from you by a third-party inspector is before new home owners orientation. So if something was to pop up and they haven't fixed anything before, you will be able to have enough time for the builder manager or the building manager to fix those things before the final walkthrough. So before final walkthrough, you're able to make sure everything is done that you asked them to do, whether it's the floor was installed not square to the rooms. That happened to me. That's another thing that happened to me before I moved in here. The day we were doing the final walkthrough, we hear noise and they're ripping up the whole floor in the second floor because it wasn't the hardwood floors wasn't square to the rooms. So they were ripping it up, and I was like, are we closing in time? Fortunately, we only had a few hours delay, but we got it closed. And yeah, like 5 days later, that plumbing issue happened. So
it was the first house they did? Oh, the first house?
It was the first phase, but it was not the first house. So yeah.
All right. So then we do the second inspection. It goes through. Then in terms of if the financing is through the builder itself and stuff like that, in terms of how does it work with the appraiser? Because since the appraiser is is on the same team here, where you have the lender using their appraiser, but the lender is working with the builder. How can they truly give I guess they have to because they're certified, but
right.
How can they not give a not partial appraisal because they're representing the lending side that's working with the builder?
That's a very good question. And that's another reason why, if you have the ability to get a third-party lender involved, that's another question that nobody will ever know unless something was to pop up. So depending on what your situation is financially, and if you can, forego, the builder giving you $15,000 to $25,000, I would say do that or suggest doing that, because that short-term money given you right up front is very a lot of people will take that. So, yeah.
If everybody free money, I'm out there too, man. Exactly. I'll go and put my hand out until I find out the final the the fine print at the bottom. You find out
Exactly.
a lot later. You're gonna have plumbing issues later on. But
Yeah.
all right then. So that's good though, because that's one thing that a lot of times when people buying homes, they don't realize they have to get appraisal. That's another step they don't realize by the process. Normally, when you do buy a house, you have an appraiser, which is from your lender, but usually your lender is not affiliated to the homeowner, which is different from like a pre-made home. Like the homeowner is not involved in the lending process at all. So being the builder that's part of it and to have a lender, I can see how that can be a kind of little treacherous road a little bit, and that people would kind of like, I'll be wary of that a little bit, but definitely getting a third party lender, that's something that people can look into, because you can make these people fight, especially in this market right now in terms of people buying homes. If you can get two lenders fighting, give me the best deal, that's better for you. It's better to get more than one person giving you a pre-approval, because you will be surprised, man, that like right now in this market, everyone's looking for deals. Lenders looking for people to lend money to, because that are qualified, because not everybody's qualified to buy a home. And if you're qualified, they're going to fight for your business. So it's always good to reach out to more than one person.
Yep, that is totally right there.
All right, so now that we got the appraisal done, stuff like that, then closing time. So in terms of from the appraisal to closing, how long usually that takes in terms of that, or it just depends when the house is finished?
It depends when the house is finished. Usually appraisal is done, I would say anywhere. I mean, it can be done 30 days before the house is done. But it all depends on when you guys contracted to close the home. So, I mean, it can be days before that that you close, that you get appraisal. So.
Okay. So it's like for like buying a pre-owned home, for most part, for appraisal is usually done before the final approval for the mortgage is done, usually like a week or two before that time. And so like in terms of timing, stuff like that, going to the underwriter and stuff like that, how long does that take?
I mean, it's pretty quick. Once you get their appraisal, and then the underwriter, they're making sure that you didn't spend no money or you didn't buy a car or anything like that before closing, you should be all good. So it just all depends on the scenario.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about a lot of this last week with Robert Graybill of Fear of Mortgage. Don't open new credit cards. Don't buy no furniture. Don't buy a car. Don't borrow any like money on credit. Don't do anything, like just don't do anything on your credit until you close on that property. Then you could buy whatever you want. I'm not going to curse.
Right. Unfortunately, I haven't had to deal with that yet, knock on wood. But if you're watching this, please don't do that. I don't care who you're working with.
So you get the final approval. Then I guess you still do the final walkthrough at the end, just before closing.
Of course.
Check
Yep. Making sure, making sure, there's times when, new construction leaves doors open and everything. And next thing you know, you're going through a final walkthrough and your appliances are gone. Some people even think, appliances are included, or they think that the garage door opener is included, but not all the time it is not. So just having that final walkthrough, whether you are in person or have your agent do that final walkthrough for you, make sure you do that final walkthrough. I like that. What's up, Allie? Allie's down here in South Carolina. She ain't close enough though.
So that's pretty much it. Then after that, you're popping champagne bottles. You're going out to a steak dinner, Rick.
Hey, I like my steak.
Go on steak dinner, Rick, man. Rick will take you out to steak dinner, man. Go on steak dinner, Rick, man. So I don't. Let's see what's on these slides here. This last slide here. What's you have here, Rick?
Yeah. So basically, if anybody is on this call and they have any questions, no matter where you are, whether you're on the other side of the state or other side of the country, we have somebody for you that will represent you the way we will if we were licensed in that state. So Whether you're in Austin, whether you're in Chicago, whether you're in Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, California, Seattle, we have somebody out there for you. So if you have any questions, local questions that somebody will be able to answer for you, or you're looking to relocate to Connecticut or South Carolina, we'll be able to help you, but don't do it alone. And if there's anybody that you know that is looking or even thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, please get them somebody represented so their best interest is at heart.
All right, then. So, Rick, I'll give you a little bit moment here. So, I'm a realtor in Connecticut. I think that's the best state in the union, which is where we have all 4 seasons. In addition to, we're the suburb of New York. This is where New Yorkers go to retire, I would say, or hide away from the city. We have a lot to offer. Overall, it's a great state and a lot of different things to see. A lot of history here. We're part of the original states here in the in the original states in the country right now. So, but I'm gonna give you, Rick, a little bit of time, just a little bit. What are the reasons why to move to South Carolina? Here's your pitch right now. Like, why would you should move to South Carolina? Because I know those $300,000 to $500,000 homes are definitely $1 million homes up here in Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts. They're definitely more expensive here. So what's the pitch for the move from up north and go down to the south?
Well, first thing, a lot of people, Charleston is the #1 relocation spot in the U.S. And the reason why everyone is moving here from the north is to trade that snow in those gloomy 10 months of the year for sand and palm trees. So the food, the history, the pineapple is the official trademark of hospitality and welcome to everyone here. It's whether you like soul food, whether you want Gullah Geechee, whether you want history, the people here, there's about 10% of people that are actually from here. It is a melting pot of the New England, the Midwest. We have a lot of military here that wants to retire here when they're done serving our great country. A lot of retirees come here. I know they used to go to San Diego. They used to go to Phoenix. Now they're all coming here. If you go look at the stats, 30 new people are moving to Charleston every day. That is not an exaggeration. And if you look at my social media, Ricky Agent 843 on all platforms, or if you just YouTube why move to Charleston, you will see why people are moving here. So I love it here. I've been here 5 years. I'm not going back north. I love it here. If you get a chance to come down and visit, you're not like when I came to visit down the first time, I was actually under contract on a house down here. And I was like, I guess we're going back up to Nashua to sell our house. I had no intentions of moving down south. But when I came down here and I saw Shem Creek and we were in the water looking at pelicans and dolphins swimming in Shem Creek, it got me.
Yes, that's that Bayesian in you.
Yeah, Bayesian. Barbados, represent. All right.
So that's it, man. So now this was us covering how to start in terms of buying for a new construction home. Thank you guys for listening tonight. This is Bedtime Real Estate. So this is a time where you can relax, get to bed, read a book, have pillow talk with your significant other, and go to sleep or do whatever grown adults do. So thank you, Rick, for coming through and being on this. And we'll probably see him again too. We'll definitely have to get Inspector from his side. We'll get that person on to talk specifics of new construction homes. It may be catered to South Carolina, but most of this is probably would would be featured throughout the whole state. So next week we're going to have financial literacy. We're going to have someone talk about financial literacy. I'll put that post out on Instagram. Look out for an invite so you can learn more about real estate and get exposure. It's all about learning something. That's why I did a Game to Real Estate, to help people to learn about real estate and make the best decision for themselves. You may not be a client, but I can still help you. So thank you, Rick. Have a good night. I'll see y'all later.
Peace out, baby.